Hello everyone, and welcome to my YNR Official 24 channel. Victor Newman has spent his entire life structure. It all began as a quiet storm, the kind that creeps in under polished boardroom tables and behind glass office doors, when whispers started circulating that Victor had intimately greenlit an experimental AI action designed to prognosticate request shifts, manipulate accessions, and most nipping of all, model mortal jest. To anticipate rivals' moves before they indeed made them. On paper, the design was revolutionary, a technological crown jewel that could secure Newman Enterprises' dominance for decades. But in reality, it was a moral minefield, and Victoria Newman was about to light the match and burn it all down. Victoria had been uneasy for weeks, seeing that commodity at Newman Media and the parent company didn't add up the unforeseen shots, the unexplained budget divisions, the way Victor shut down exchanges the moment she asked too numerous questions. When she eventually gained access to the AI's core lines, what she set up stopped her cold wave. The program wasn't just scraping figures, it was sketching people, family members, business rivals, ERADICATES, assigning them threat values, cerebral triggers, and prognosticated breaking points. For Victoria, this wasn't invention. It was treason. Worse, it was particular. The AI had simulations involving her, Nick, Adam, and indeed their children, mapping out scripts where emotional pressure could be applied for maximum strategic advantage. The consummation that her own father had authorized a system that could one day be used to manipulate his own family-shattered commodity inside her that had formerly been cracking for times. The battle was ineluctable, and when it came, it was stormy. In Victor's office, girdled by the symbols of his conglomerate, Victoria eventually snapped. Gone was the composed CEO, the disciplined superintendent who had spent her life trying to earn her father's respect on his terms. In her place stood a woman who had reached her limit. As Victor calmly defended the AI as necessary and ineluctable, Victoria crossed the room in a flash, seized him by the collar, and demanded to know when he'd decided that control signified further than heart. The shock on Victor's face wasn't sweat, it was unbelief. No bone. Grabs Victor Newman. No bone. Dares. But Victoria wasn't done. She indicted him of crossing a line he could no way uncross, of turning Newman Enterprises into a surveillance state fueled by arrogance and paranoia. Victor fired back, averring that the world had changed, that power now belonged to those who could see the future before it happened, and that saccharine was a weakness he refused to indulge. That's when Victoria delivered the line that echoed through the office like a projectile. Also, this conglomerate deserves to fall. What happened next was pure chaos. Victoria marched to the secured terminal, overriding protocols she herself had formerly helped design, and initiated a total system purge. Admonitions blazoned as firewalls collapsed and data waiters began wiping themselves clean. Victor cried, ordering her to stop, but it was too late. Times of exploration, millions of bones. And Victor's grand vision of a digital mystic went up in gears in real time. Victoria watched the progress bar hit 100% with gashes in her eyes, not of remorse, but of resoluteness. She told Victor that some effects should no way live, no matter how important they might be, and that if guarding her family and the company meant destroying his pet design, she'd do it again without vacillation. For Victor, the loss wasn't just fiscal, it was ideological. This was his son rejecting not only his styles but his worldview. As security rushed in and technicians climbed to assess the damage, Victor stood frozen, gaping at the blinked fences where his future formerly lived. The silence between father and son was blaring, heavy with times of undetermined pain, contest, and love twisted into commodity dangerous. The fallout was immediate and far-reaching. News of the AI program's destruction transferred shockwaves through Newman Enterprises, rattling investors and transferring challengers into a delirium. Was Newman hiding commodity? Had Victoria gone mischief? Or was Victor's grip on his conglomerate eventually slipping? Nick was torn, furious at Victor for crossing such a dark ethical line, but alarmed that Victoria's drastic move would leave the company vulnerable. Adam, ever the wild card, saw occasion in the ashes, wondering audibly whether this power vacuum might eventually allow him to claim what he believed was rightfully his. Meanwhile, Victoria faced the consequences of her conduct head-on, refusing to apologize indeed as the board demanded explanations. She made it clear that she'd not preside over a company that weaponized technology against humanity, or against its own blood. For the first time, Victoria wasn't asking for Victor's blessing, she was daring him to challenge her authority. Victor, still, isn't a man who accepts defeat still. Stripped of his AI advantage, he began conniving his coming move with renewed intensity, covenanting that Newman Enterprises would rise again, stronger, smarter, and forcefully under his control. Yet there was commodity different in his eyes, a flicker of query he couldn't relatively extinguish. Victoria hadn't just destroyed a program, she had exposed his topmost fear, that his children were no longer extensions of his will, but independent forces able of dismembering everything he erected. As Genoa City buzzed with rumors and alliances shifted, one verity came inarguable: the Newman family had crossed a point of no return. Victoria's act of defiance wasn't just rebellion, it was a protestation of war against the very foundation of Victor's conglomerate. And as the ashes of the AI program settled, one question impended larger than ever. Had Victoria saved Newman Enterprises from getting a monster, or had she burned a fire that would consume them all? One thing is certain: the young and the restless has just entered a bold, dangerous new period, and nothing in Genoa City will ever be the same again. Something bad is going to happen to the Newman family. Victoria Newman is going to get a warning that a dead body has been found. This is going to make Victoria's mean side come out. The Newman family business is in trouble. Victoria knows she has to do something to protect it. She needs to fight against all the bad things that are happening. Victor Newman is really upset. Victoria has never seen her dad scared. He is really worried about what's going on. Victor saw what the computer program can do. It really scared him. Victoria Newman knows that her dad Victor Newman is shaken. This is not like him all. The Newmans are in for a time. Victoria Newman and her family are going to have to be strong to get through this. Arabesque was gone in a few days, and this made Victor think that they might have to sell some parts of Newman. I feel bad for Victoria, because she has to see her father so upset. Victor is usually very smart and plans ahead. This time he was surprised by the problems that Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers caused. Victor and Nick Newman already yelled at Kane when they went to his train. Now it is Victoria's turn to go and confront them. Victoria is going to walk and start a big scene for a change. The young and the restless spoilers say this will happen during the week of January 19th to 23rd. Kane will feel very sure of himself when he talks to Phyllis. She will really enjoy their conversation about their plan to take over the company. Kane will talk about how they have control of Newman Enterprises and the companies it owns. Then, he will say it is time to move forward with their plan to take over the company completely. Victoria will be the one to cause a scene this time. The young and the restless spoilers are saying that Kane and Phyllis are getting ready to make their move. That is when Victoria will come walking in and say that it will happen when she is dead. Victoria will make it very clear that she is serious. She would rather have something bad happen to her than let Kane get what he wants. Victoria will not let this happen. Phyllis will see this as a chance to make fun of Victoria. Victoria will get very angry with Phyllis. Phyllis will take this chance to get in Victoria's face and make fun of her about what's going on with Kane. Victoria will yell back at Phyllis. Victoria is not going to let Phyllis get away with this. Victoria will fight back. Victoria may try to get under Phyllis's skin by questioning Kane's commitment to Phyllis and suggesting he might double-cross her. Whatever the case, Victoria will warn Kane and Phyllis that the Newmans are going to come roaring back. Victor never loses for very long, so Victoria may remind Kane and Phyllis of that soon enough, embracing her fierce Newman roots during this confrontation, and may admit she'll take great pleasure in the revenge plot that's brewing. Victoria made a bold move. Then something bad happened to Abby and Devin. It was a disaster. Meanwhile, Jack was furious. He blasted Billy. Victoria Newman is going to do something. Abby Winters and Devin Winters are in trouble. Jack Abbott is going to yell at Billy Abbott. There are some things happening. Sienna Bacall hears what Nick Newman and Noah Newman are talking about. Then she tells Victor Newman about the things Matt Clark is planning for his son. The young and the restless spoilers say Victor Newman wants to take care of Matt Clark by himself. Nick Newman does not like that idea. Victor Newman is going to do what he wants to do about Matt Clark. This is not going to make Nick Newman happy. Victoria Newman and Victor Newman are going to be a part of some stories. Abby Winters and Devin Winters are also going to have some problems with Matt Clark. Sharon Newman is going to have a time because she is worried about Nick's injury. She is also scared about all the pills Nick is taking to feel better. Nick's injury and the pills he is taking are really bothering Sharon Newman. As for Billy, he is going to cause some problems. This is because Billy is thinking about taking the job that Kane Ashby offered him at Chancellor. Billy's decision is going to upset Victoria Newman and Jack. They do not think Billy should make things worse with the family. Victoria Newman and Jack are going to be angry with Billy because they think he should not take the job that Kane Ashby offered him at Chancellor. Jack is really going to dislike the idea of Chancellor being taken from Mickey Newman. Billy might say that he should not have lost it in the first place. Billy will keep making choices, and this will make Sally Spectra very angry. So Sally Spectra will go to Kane. Tell him about her problems with Billy. Kane and Phyllis Summers will also meet with Victoria. Victoria will do something against Chancellor at some point. Sally Spectra will be furious with Billy because of his decisions. Victoria will probably tell Lily Winters what is going on with her ex. This means Kane will get a call from someone who's really mad at him. Chelsea Lawson is going to show Nikki that she is on the Newman team. Then she will have an argument with Phyllis at Crimson Lights. Chelsea will let everyone know that she is going after Phyllis and Kane and all the people who do not like them. When Jack goes to the Newman ranch, he will give Nikki a hug. Victor is going to get just in time to see what is happening, and he will give Jack a really strong warning soon. For now, Holden Novak and Audra Charles will have a talk with Amy Lewis because they want to start fresh. Mariah Copeland is a story altogether. She will become more crazy because of the things she sees about Ian Ward and the path that Ian Ward has been telling her to follow. Abby and Devin will soon face every parent's worst nightmare since all signs point to Mariah kidnapping Dominic Newman Abbott Winters Chancellor. Victoria Newman's dead body and a trail of portentous warning signals enkindle one of the darkest chapters the Newman family has ever faced as power, treason, and buried secrets collide in a way that threatens to destroy Victor Newman's conglomerate from the inside out, because it all begins with subtle signs that commodity is terribly wrong when Victoria, generally the personification of icy control and ruthless perfection, starts carrying aimlessly, missing pivotal meetings, transferring cryptic dispatches, and distancing herself indeed from those she trusts most, leading Victor to sense that his son is hiding commodity far more dangerous than a commercial initiative, and while Nick worries she's pushing herself toward another breakdown, and Nikki feels a mama's spontaneous dread tensing in her casket, no bone is prepared for the horrifying possibility that Victoria's life may formally be over, especially when a disturbing discovery sends shockwaves through the family as an unidentified body is set up under suspicious circumstances, driving rumors that helical estual of control and raise an intimidating question no bone dares to ask audibly, is Victoria Newman dead? The warning signals start piling up presto, from deleted security footage at Newman Enterprises to a burner phone traced back to Victoria's last given position, suggesting that someone went to great lengths to abolish her final movements, and as Victor launches a ruthless private disquisition, his instincts tell him this isn't just an accident or arbitrary act of violence, but advised communication aimed directly at him, a power play designed to expose his topmost weakness, his family. Meanwhile, Nick follows a different trail, uncovering a shadowy alliance forming behind the scenes, with familiar adversaries and unanticipated interposers conceivably conspiring to take advantage of the chaos, and the further Nick lodgings, the more it becomes clear that Victoria may have been on the verge of uncovering commodity explosive before she dissolved, commodity so dangerous it could bring her life, because flashbacks and fractured suggestions reveal Victoria had been entering pitfalls disguised as commercial tips, each one further minatory than the last, advising her to stop digging or face unrecoverable consequences. Nikki, torn between stopgap and despair, clings to the belief that her son is alive, yet indeed, she cannot ignore the haunting signs, like Victoria's marriage ring set up abandoned, precisely placed as if to be discovered, and this deliberate symbolism only deepens the horror, suggesting that whoever orchestrated this wanted the Newman'S to suffer sluggishly, to question, to sweat, and to unravel. As the disquisition intensifies, Genoa City becomes a pressure cooker of dubitation. With fritters pointing in every direction, including toward long-standing rivals who would profit immensely from Victoria's junking, but the most minatory twist emerges when substantiation hints that the trouble may have began much nearer to home, raising the unbelievable possibility that treason lurks within the Newman inner circle itself, forcing Victor to defy the idea that his grim pursuit of power may have eventually turned one of his own into a target, or worse and a better. The emotional fallout is ruinous, with Nick consumed by guilt for not guarding his family, Nikki visited by recollections of once losses, and Victor oscillating between cold fury and slightly contained grief, covenanting that if Victoria has been harmed, there will be no mercy for those responsible, yet indeed as rage energies his determination, the warning signals escalate, including a nipping anonymous communication transferred directly to Victor, containing details only Victoria would know, proving she was alive at the time the communication was composed, or at least that someone wanted Victor to believe so, and this cruel cerebral torment pushes the Newman primogenitor to the point. As the days pass, the line between stopgap and horror blurs, especially when forensic results on the unidentified body come back inconclusive, leaving open the intimidating possibility that the body could indeed be Victoria's, but without definitive evidence, the agony stretches on, feeding enterprise, paranoia, and fear, while in the murk, a puppet master appears to be manipulating events with surgical perfection, using Victoria's exposure or death as influence to destabilize Newman Enterprises and strike Victor's control piece by piece. The minatory turn becomes inarguable when business rivals make aggressive moves timed impeccably with the family's emotional vulnerability, suggesting bigwig knowledge and a coordinated attack, and Nick begins to suspect that Victoria may have offered part of her exposure herself to draw out her adversary. A proposition that offers a splinter of stopgap but also paints Victoria as a woman pushed so far that faking her own death came her only option. Yet indeed this possibility carries a darker edge, because if Victoria is alive, she may be in grave peril, injured, interned, or contending against time to expose a conspiracy that could destroy her family ever. As the Newman siblings' bond is tested like no way ahead, old resentments resurface, secrets unmask out under pressure, and alliances shift, turning the family inward at the very moment they should be united, exactly as the unseen adversary intended, and Victor, ever the strategist, begins to play a long game, setting traps and spreading misinformation to flush out whoever is behind the minatory warnings. But the cost of this war is steep, as every move pitfalls attesting Victoria's worst fears about her family's amenability to immolate love for power. In the end, the riddle of Victoria's dead body, or the nipping vision of it, becomes further than a whodunit. It becomes a reckoning for the Newmans, forcing them to defy how far they're willing to go to cover their heritage and each other, because whether Victoria is dead or alive, the damage is formally done. The warning signals have been entered loud and clear, and the minatory turn set in stir will leave scars that may no way completely heal, proving formally again on the young and the restless that in Genoa City, survival frequently comes at the loftiest possible price.